6. We're going to go from 6 to 1 in this video. At tip number 6, we're going to talk sensitivity. This is something that I think is super important. This is something I talk about a lot. And a lot of people say that, well, the pro players play on a low sensitivity. So obviously a low sensitivity is better. Now, the pro players do play low. It is better. I'm not going to deny that. But they play on a 3 or a 4 or something like really, really low. And in my opinion, yes, that is great, but that's not great for multiplayer. Like, you guys gotta remember, they're playing pro settings. They're playing against other pros. Not many people are going to be flanking when they're playing against each other, and they all do call-outs. They all know where the enemies are. In multiplayer, chances are enemies are going to flank you. Stuff like that's going to happen. You don't know where everyone is. You might be playing with a bunch of randoms, and nobody's telling you where anyone is. So this is very different for you. So what I suggest here is putting your sensitivity anywhere to a 7 or 8, so you at least have time to turn on someone, but your sensitivity is still low enough that when you're actually shooting at the enemies or going to center your crosshair to shoot at the enemies, you don't have to worry about missing them at all. You don't have to worry about moving a little too fast or anything. So putting it a little lower to a 7 or 8 rather than a 14 or something is great. You can turn on them. You don't have to worry about anything like that, and you can still aim nicely. Now let's go down to number 5. And number 5 is using the broken game mechanics, like the camera angles and all that kind of stuff, the head glitches, everything to your advantage. Now, if you're in a building, let's say for example, and you crouch at a window looking outside. Now, if you're on the second floor, this is even better. If you're on the second floor of the building and you're crouching and aiming your gun outside the window, the enemy is only going to see your forehead pretty much. They're not going to see much of your body, and this is easier for you. You're going to see most of their body, if not the whole entire body. So this allows you to actually shoot the whole entire enemy. You have a much bigger target to hit. While he's trying to shoot you, he could only see your forehead. So he has such a tiny target to hit. He's going to be missing his bullets. You don't have to worry about anything like that. And his vertical kick on his weapon is probably going to make him miss some shots. So this is going to be a lot easier for you to actually go and get the kills. But there's a few other broken camera angles and stuff like that we can talk about. And one of them is standing at the bottom of a staircase. Now, normally standing at the bottom is the worst spot you want to be in. But for some reason, if you're standing at the bottom of the staircase in this game, it's better than standing at the top of the staircase. Now, the top of the staircase does have some advantages, like they could shoot your head easier than you could shoot theirs, meaning they do more damage and they can kill you faster. But one thing I noticed, when you're standing at the bottom of the staircase, you could see their whole entire body from the waist up. Now, if they're standing a little further back in the staircase, but they're still on top, they're not going to see much of your body, if any at all. Well, you can still see them. That's how broken the camera angles are. So sometimes being at the bottom staircase is better than being at the top. Now, another one is when you're turning around corners and stuff like that, you want to make sure you always jump before you turn the corner. You want to pre-aim your gun as well. You want to be aiming down sights and jumping and looking where you think enemies are going to be. Now, if there is an enemy that's sitting there pre-aiming that area, waiting for someone to come around the corner, this is where it's more in his favor. The camera angles in this game, the latency, the lag, everything that happens in this game gives him the advantage at that point. He's going to see your body before you can see him. At least a millisecond, all the way up to a full entire second, he has that advantage on you. And in a game where you die in just milliseconds, he's probably going to kill you before you could. But if you jump around the corner, you slide around the corner, you do something, and you pre-aim where you think he's going to be, this is better in your favor. Because not only are you making yourself a harder target to hit, you're actually pre-aiming and you're actually going to get this guy 9 out of 10 times because he's not going to know what's coming and you're already aiming at him. So this is really good. That's something you want to do. Now, going down to number 4 is centering your crosshairs. This is something that's really important as well. And it's like Modern Warfare. In this game, you have your crosshairs, those 4 little lines in the middle of your screen. When you're running, you see them. There's also a dot in the center of those. So even when you're sprinting, that little dot is there. Even if the lines disappear, that little dot is always there. And this dot should be used as a guide. You should always point it where you think the enemies might be, whether it's windows, doorways, corners, head glitches, wherever you think enemies are going to be. Always have that dot pointed there, just in case there is an enemy there or an enemy pops up out of nowhere and he comes around the corner while your dot is pointed there. All you have to do is aim down sights. You don't have to worry about fixing your aim. You don't have to worry about anything. And I highly suggest shooting before you aim down sights. So maybe one shot, a hip-fire shot, I should say, could end up hitting him, and it just works out in your favor. You should be able to get him. He's going to have to adjust his aim. He's going to have to try to aim at you perfectly while you're already aiming directly at the dude. So this is great for you. Now let's move on to number 3. And tip number 3, what the heck was that? Something just fell. Tip number 3 is know when to camp and know when to rush. Now, it might sound bad, I'm telling you guys to camp. A lot of people hate campers, but it works in your favor sometimes. So you gotta know, if there's a bunch of enemies coming towards you on one side of the map, the worst thing to do is just sprint out towards them. You're making yourself a very easy target to hit. They're all gonna shoot you at the same time. This is where you want to camp back. You want to maybe sit in a corner, maybe sit in a head glitch. Let them come to you one by one, and you can easily pick them off. Now, another time is when you want to rush. If your whole entire team is ahead of you and you got maybe another teammate behind you and stuff, you know there's no real enemies around you at this point. This is when you can rush to the other side of the map, hopefully pick off a few people and all that kind of stuff. Now, I won't suggest camping the whole entire game. You're not going to have good gameplay doing that, but sometimes it is really worth it. And I do camp a lot. I do. And when you camp, I don't mean just sit in one corner and let them come over and over again. Sit in one building, move around in that building, kill two people, move to another part of that building. They're going to come back, don't worry. They're angry, they want to kill you, and they won't expect you to be at the opposite corner, and then you can kill them again and stuff, and then get the heck out of there. Going down to number 2, you gotta know your enemies, and when I talk about this, it takes a lot of time to actually know your enemies, but the more you play the game, the more you know what hotspots are on the map. And let's take the map Raid, for example. When I play Raid, I know for a fact that most people go towards the middle of the map, most people go towards the garden side of the map, and most people go towards the circle area where the statue is. That's where most people play, so I know that those are very hot areas. That's what I keep focusing on. Not many people go all the way to the pool side. Yeah, there is some people there, but not many, so you gotta know that type of stuff as well. Now let's go down to a bonus tip before we actually get to the first one, and this one is actually going to a private match. This is to practice your accuracy and give you the best aim you possibly could. If you do this every single day before you start playing, it's gonna work for you. So you want to go into a private match, set it on maximum enemies. Put the boss on recruits, so they're super easy. They'll barely shoot back at you, trust me. Put the health to max, put it to headshots only, radar always on, and turn off your aim assist in the settings. It doesn't matter what level the boss are at, recruits easier, because you're just practicing your aim here. You're gonna have to go for aim shots. You're not gonna have aim assist to help you, and it's gonna actually make you much better at the game. It's gonna be much easier for you once you go back into multiplayer, play against real people, and make sure you turn your aim assist back on. It's gonna be real easy. I've had a few times where I forgot to turn aim assist back on, and I thought I was really garbage at the game, but yeah, just turn it back on. At number 1, we're gonna talk about something that has to do with your psychological mode, I guess, man. When you're playing the game and somebody kills you, and then somebody kills you again and again and again, do not get angry. Don't get frustrated. Don't try to seek revenge. Don't try to go after them and stuff like that. It happens, man. Some people go on death streaks. Man, you guys probably watched my video the other day. I died 10 times in a row. I didn't get angry. I laughed it off and stuff. That's what you have to do. You can't get angry, because once you get angry, 1, you're not thinking straight. So you're running out there like a headless chicken. 2, your accuracy is going to be garbage, because you're just going to be focusing on trying to hit these dudes. You're going to be focusing too hard, if that makes sense. You're just not going to do that great. And number 3, yeah, you're going to go back to not thinking straight. You're just going to run. You're not going to care. You have 1 dude in mind, and then there's still 5 other enemies you have to worry about, but you're not going to be thinking of them, and then they're going to get you before you can get to the end, guys. So don't worry about that, man. If someone kills you, just play the game, play normal, you start a new life. It doesn't matter. Your score streaks and stuff, your killing streaks, you still get them if you die. That's what's good about this game, I guess. But anyways, guys, thank you for watching this video, man. If you did enjoy it, like I said, if you could go for 1,013 likes, that would be truly appreciated. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are around here with those notifications turned on. Hopefully these tips help you. My name is Nick, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
Enemy cruise missile launch detected.
What's going on, guys? We're back today with another video. I hope you guys have all enjoyed your guys' Thanksgiving yesterday, but today's upload is going to be 5 tips and tricks how to be the best Call of Duty player you can be in Cold War. On top of it. Welcome to Nuketown Fort, everyone. This is Robbie giving you guys the rundown of the tips and tricks to have the best aim and best movement in Call of Duty Cold War. First off, we're going to have to start off with the dead zone controller. If you look right here, the left and right minimum threshold is at 5. Default's at 20, and a lot of people will tell you that when they first started playing this game, that they felt either input lag, input delay, or felt like someone was just moving more their preference, but that's going to be the number one in your aim settings and to help your movement, because if you have too high of a threshold, your controller is literally going to be moving by yourself, and you don't want any of that. After that, we got to go to, where are we at here? We got to head down to our aim assist response curve. You look right here, mine is currently set to standard, but just like Modern Warfare, they implemented this new thing where they're standard, linear, and dynamic. Linear, really no one uses, but you could try it. Maybe it'll work for you. For me, personally, dynamic is going to be what we're rocking with. I rocked with dynamic in Modern Warfare, and I was an absolute monster after I threw it on. Some pros even say nowadays that having dynamic on, it literally shoots for you. So if I had to recommend any of the three, I'd say dynamic. If you don't like dynamic, then I'd go with standard. I'd really stay away from linear. Second off, in your guys' settings, we're going to have to go to field of view and ADS field of view. If you guys, I'm pretty sure it starts on effective, but if it starts with independent, you really want to switch to effective. It's just going to help you when you aim down sights.
I killed this guy.
Independent, it says aiming down sights will zoom the field of view to its intended value. When playing with that, I experienced a little bit. It doesn't feel exactly right. You guys can attach right here. So this is kind of what it feels like. It feels a bit odd. I just kind of feel like you're on my feet. I don't know. It doesn't feel the same. But it's all preference at the end of the day. But I would have to recommend effective. And then when it comes to field of view, your default field of view, I'm pretty sure is around 80 or 75. I bumped mine all the way up to 100. I think 100 is the perfect value for field of view while playing with a controller. I play multiple PC games. I'm sure some of you guys out there play PC games as well. And when I first loaded a PC game, the first thing I changed my field of view, and I usually bump it all the way up to 120. I'll show you what that does here. I bump it all the way up to 120, and look at, we are super zoomed out. And you're going to see the maximum amount of screen that you can possibly see, which would be good for some people, but I think while playing with a controller, you don't necessarily need to see as much, like all this. You really need to focus on your aiming, especially with people having crazy movement around. But even just from switching this, it feels like I am zooming around the map.
Let's see what you
I don't know
can
if you
do.
guys can tell a little bit more or less than I can, but it looks like I am absolutely zooming. We'll switch back really quick. Oh, yeah, we'll switch back. I thought I'd change. I thought this was my field of view for a second. But we'll change back to 100. You guys are going to see right here, it's much more zoomed in, but it still looks better than it would at 80. Obviously, the lower you go, the more it's going to zoom in, and the less of the screen you'll see. We're just getting a couple shots right here. Like I was saying, you want to make it successful.
Enlisted is the free, brand new online World War II shooter. Command a squad of soldiers and participate in legendary battles of the Second World War. Right now, the invasion of Normandy and the battle for Moscow are available in-game, with many more to come. And Enlisted, you lead several unique soldiers that you can switch freely between at any time. So even if you get killed, you can still stay in the heat of battle. Choose different squad specializations and complete tactical objectives. You can lay down barbed wire and mines, build a machine gun nest, tear apart enemy defenses in a tank, rain down rockets on enemy positions, while piloting an aircraft or clear a building with a flamethrower. Level up to unlock new squads and weapons, upgrade your soldiers, and customize them. In Enlisted, there are over 100 unlockable weapons and vehicles, with much more to come. Enlisted offers unparalleled realism, depth, and detail to create a whole new experience in a much-loved genre. Join in or on your own with a group of friends and experience massive World War II conflicts like never before. Download Enlisted for free on enlisted.net.
Your field of view and your aim assist behavior is on dynamic. Or, I mean, it comes to preference at the end of the day, but from most of the pros I've talked with, those are their preferred settings, their preferred ranges. So, I'd have to tell you to try it out. Going into our second tip, though, I'm going to have to go with slide canceling. Slide canceling in this game is still good, not as good as Modern Warfare. I'd like to say, like, Shotzzy, Illy, and all those guys really abuse the slide canceling. at the very beginning of Modern Warfare, and it really turned to everyone abusing it. Basically, though, in this game, you can't really pull up your gun as fast. And what you're basically doing is you're double sliding. So you're sliding once. That's what happens when you slide once. You slide far. But if I slide twice, it stops wherever I want to stop. You guys can see, I hope you guys can see that. But yeah, look. So here's a long slide, which is good in certain scenarios. But this is the slide where you click twice, and then you also, at the end of your slide, you want to click your jump button. So you stand back up. Look, I'm sliding here, and I stay like crouched. You don't want that to happen. You want to be fast in that, you want to be fast in that. So slide, slide, jump. Slide, slide, jump. Slide, slide, jump. It's pretty easy to do once you get used to it. It's obviously a habit you have to create, but it's going to help you in the long run just knowing that combination of buttons. But our next thing we're going to come to is with the slide canceling, you really don't want to do it a lot in Cold War. Especially if you're a submachine gun player like me, you don't want to slide because ARs are just premium heavy, and if you walk around a corner, they're going to be premiuming you, and that sliding, that extra half a second or second, is really going to cost you from, lighting them up with your gun, actually. But if I'm sliding around a corner, maybe I'm going to catch him off guard. Or if you're just moving around the map, maybe you want to slide. That is up to you, but yeah, slide cancel, you need to know that combat. It's going to help you in certain gunfights, but ultimately, you want to preem a lot. Preeming is going to get you the most kills majority of the time. Even like now, sliding around the map, it's going to just cost me time, where I really could just be standing here, turning around. As you guys can see, though, we are just playing TOTS. I'm trying to just give you guys a little rundown. They're not shooting back really at me, but sliding will help in certain scenarios, but preemping will reign supreme 90% of the time. Going into our third trick, this is going to be the majority of your sub players. ARs, it's very hard to strafe in gunfights, but personally, I feel like I'm one of the better strafing subs in the league. I really rely on moving side to side in gunfights to outgun my opponents. And what that's going to look like is really, my personal favorite is while I'm taking a gunfight, strafing the same way. So what happens is, if someone is strafing the same way, that means you have to follow them in the same direction, which most people get caught off guard. It sounds very simple, but you guys would be surprised at how much it catches people off guard. Look, let's see this guy, right? If he was going side to side, all I'd have to do is this. If he's going in one direction, I have to go like that. It's much harder for someone to keep up with, and for someone to do it. And what goes along with that is when you're coming out of doorways, strafing one direction is going to camera everyone. If you guys don't know what cameraing is, basically giving you an advantage where you see them before they see you, or you can react faster than they can react type deal. There's multiple different cameras in each cop. Slide canceling is basically a camera in itself, so that's why it's always handy to know it. But look, I'm going to come around this corner, and if I strafe, okay, well, that really didn't work. But if I come around this corner and I strafe one way, it's going to be hard for him to kill me. And the 74U isn't the best strafing gun. It is a bit slower speed. Here, we'll take out the 75. I can't even do that. We'll die really quick, and then I'll take out the 55 and show you. You wanna kill me, man? These bots aren't the brightest, guys. They're really not. They're really not. There we go. There we go. Alright, so MP5 a little more versatile here. Come around a corner, you're going to want to strafe one way. So you see how fast I'm actually moving when I'm strafing the one way. Compared to, going side to side, it doesn't really help much. Come around a corner, strafe one way. See, these are just bots. It's hard to put into a real setting, but strafing one way is what's going to make you win the gunfights you honestly shouldn't win which is a big thing when it comes to competitive Call of Duty. You know, if I'm outgunning my opponents, then it's going to give our team the biggest of upper hands. All right, guys, tip number 4 for Cold War is going to be part of your movement. In this game, actually, when you're running around the map, say you want to hit a rush route, basically what you want to do is not slide, which is going to be hard. It's hard to get out of the habit of just not sliding around the map, especially when we were talking about earlier, the slide canceling stuff. But in Cold War, you actually move faster over time while sprinting. And when you slide, you ruin that like chain effect of where it thinks you're like running or sprinting. So you're gonna want to just keep running. You're gonna hit a rush route, and that is gonna help you either like get or 2 sooner than your opponent. Say if they're sliding, and that's gonna be the upper hand that you're gonna need, especially in an SC break off or even a hardpoint break off to get that upper hand and start out strong. Another thing I can recommend is, if you look on any of my subclasses, you're going to see that I have a speed grip on. The speed grip also makes your sprinting move feet faster, so with you running, not sliding, plus speed, you're going to be as fast as you possibly can be, which is ultimately the goal on a break-off round. Going into our last trick, guys, this wasn't very good in the last title, Modern Warfare, but in Black Ops 4 and in Black Ops Cold War, this really reigned supreme, and we saw some pro players like Scraps really showcase why he did this during gunfights, and that's going to be crouch shotting. Crouch shotting is basically just going to throw your opponent off, and if they're aiming at your upper torso or your head, then they're going to miss those 1 or 2 bullets that can potentially save your life. In this game, too, it's very OP, just like Black Ops 4. You can spam it. You get a little stuck, but ultimately, I like doing this little jump into my crouching. It makes me feel like I'm in the zone. One of my coaches, Joey Dubsey, actually, from my Gen G team, said whenever he saw me doing my jumps and crouches, he knew I was cracked. He knew I was in the zone and ready to play, so you jump around the corner, get a couple crouch shots. It's going to throw them off, especially, when you're close range, and then your 7.4U is really going to help you medium and long range gunfights, even though you probably shouldn't be the long range gunfights with it, because ARs probably will do shit 70% of the time. But on the off chance the AR is missing bullets, like missing a few bullets already, and you hit him with a crouch shot, it's going to be even harder for them to gun you. Which ultimately is our goal here, better movement is going to help you win the gunfights you shouldn't. Basically, whole tips of this video, cammering, slide canceling, crouch shotting, it's all going to help when it comes to those close gunfights where, he's one shot, you're one shot. Who's going to miss the bullet that's going to shoot you down? But yeah, guys, that's going to be it for this tips and tricks video. I hope this really helped you excel in Black Ops 4. I know all three of those movement things, besides the setting, really is what helps me excel my gameplay and win the gunfights that I shouldn't, and get those crazy clips that I know you guys see. So if you guys are new here, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and tell me if you guys knew about these or if you learned something new today. And you guys all have a good rest of your day. Peace, guys.
name is Al Capone, and I would like to say thank you for tuning back into the channel. Today's video is a tips and tricks video on how you can get better at Call of Duty multiplayer. Now, I know that there are a ton of other YouTubers that have done these tips and tricks videos, and I am going to be the first one to tell you that I have watched pretty much every single one of them, and I can tell you that what they tell you is all lies. Did you see that on the screen? All lies. Very good. All lies. I am actually going to give you the tips and tricks that I feel actually help you. Other YouTubers, they have these videos out there for all of you. Oh, turn your settings to your horizontal and your vertical settings to really low. That's what people always play on. I hate to break it to you, you're not a pro, that's why you're watching this. It's the exact same thing that I used to do. I used to watch these videos, change the settings, and you know what? Nothing would happen. So I'm not going to tell you to change your settings. The reason for that is because, like I said, you are not a pro, and number two, everybody is going to have a different feel when they're playing the game. Some people play high sensitivity, others play on really low. Me, I'm kind of in the middle. I like to play around a 6 or a 7, and sometimes that's either really too fast or it is too slow, depending on the type of match that you get. So for me to sit here and tell you, oh yeah, just, you know, move your settings around and all that, don't do it. It's not going to help. Tip number 1 is gunfights. Now, you want to win more gunfights. What is the best way to win gunfights? Well, I'm going to tell you. Get into them. That's right, don't be one of these bitches that you see in almost every single lobby you will hop into. There is one douchebag sitting in a corner the whole game, and he just camps that one corner, or he moves to a different corner, all of that. That is not the way to get better. The best way to get better at gunfights is to get into as many as you possibly can. Now, I'm not talking about rushing into the middle of the map and getting 15 deaths, 1 kill. Actually, that's exactly what. Go ahead and do that. Don't worry about your KD ratio. The only way that you are going to get better at winning gunfights is to get into as many as you possibly can. Now, I am not going to lie, you're going to see it in the gameplay that I have behind this video, or behind this. I die a lot. I die a lot in this game. More so than I did in Black Ops 3, or Advanced Warfare, or Infinite Warfare. I die more in this game than any other, and that is because I am constantly trying to get into as many gunfights as I possibly can, so that I can learn on how to win them later on. Now, I know that might sound a little counterproductive and all that, but it is the truth. The only way that you are going to get better at gunfights is to be in as many as you possibly can. And yeah, you're going to get lit up and you're going to die a lot. You're not going to be able to call in streaks as fast as everybody else, but I swear to you, eventually you will get better and you will start winning more.
Eliminate their last operator.
The second tip is do not actively seek out revenge kills. Do you remember that douchebag I was telling you about in the first tip? You walk into a corner, he lights you up, and you run back into that building thinking he's going to be in that exact same corner. He's going to the opposite corner, and he lights you up again. And then you go back in, and he just continues to light you up. Don't actively go after revenge kills. There is a very simple reason for this. Number 1, they're probably always going to get the better of you. And number 2, it's just going to infuriate you to the point where you are not thinking clearly. Now, I know that that might sound a little weird because you are playing a video game, but it's true. I mean, you can check YouTube for all of the rage montage videos that are out there. People playing Warzone, people playing multiplayer in general, any first-person shooter. When you start to get a lot of deaths and no kills to follow it, you're going to start to get a little frustrated. And that leads me into the next tip, which is don't let it get to you. Now, this is easier said than done, and I am a big culprit of this myself. There are times within my gaming session that I just get extremely pissed off and one of my partners. I'm telling you, you have to try and have a little bit of self-control when it comes to that. Laugh it off. Remind yourself that it is only a video game, and who cares? At the same time, Call of Duty, any first-person shooter game,
Switching
they're
sides.
all going to make you want to lose your mind. And I am here to tell you, try and keep your cool, try and remember that it is only a video game. And this will also help when you get into more kind of things. You know, you have a cooler, calmer head, you know, and just keep telling yourself, you know what, next one, I'm going to get a kill. Or next game is going to be 10 times better than this one. And just keep reminding yourself of these things are going to happen. You know, positive energy kind of thing. Those are the biggest things that you can do within a match. Don't actively seek out revenge kills because it's just going to end very, very bad.
Bomb is armed.
Tip number 3 is set yourself a goal for every single match. Now, for me, what I do 9 times out of 10 is my first game after my warm-up, I say, okay, this game here is 5 kills minimum. I'm not getting anything less than 5 kills. I don't give a shit. If I take 35 deaths, I'm getting my 5 kills. After you've reached that goal, the next match that you go into, say, okay, I had 5 last time, let's up it to 7 this time. Don't worry about the deaths.
Only one hostile remains.
When you're playing with
Hunt them
randoms,
down.
9 times out of 10, you're going to be on the losing team. My experience.
Loyalty to the party. Loyalty to the motherland.
They don't give a shit. Your teammates aren't there to help you because they don't know you. When you play with friends, it's a little different. But when you're just jumping into a random multiplayer gaming session, set yourself some goals. This game, I'm going to get 5 kills. Next game is 7. Game after that, I want to get at least 9. Okay, I got 5 kills for this game. Next game, I want to be able to call it. So, I mean, now you get skill streaks just like being in the law. It's kind of dumb systems they have worked out there. But save yourself some goals within the match. If you are grinding kills, headshots, you're going to be fine. I'm going to get 5, or I'm going to get 3 of those 20 headshots that I need for this camp. In every match, redo that. Now, don't get yourself into a routine of saying, okay, I got 5 kills this game. I'm going to get 5 kills next game. The game after that, I'm going to get another 5 kills. Always continue to up the ante, push yourself, because that is the only way that you're going to get better. Push yourself. I got 30 headshots I need for this. I'm going to get 2 or 3 of them this game. Next game, okay, now I've got those 2 or 3 headshots. Next game, I'm going to go 5 kills with them. If you want to get better using a certain type of weapon, for me, sniping is, I don't know, sniping seems like it doesn't require any skill at all. And that's what I'm really working on, is trying to be better with a sniper. So I hop into a game and I tell myself, okay, I'm going to get 2 sniper kills this game. And in the next game, I'm going to get 5. And it doesn't matter if you don't reach that goal, set it. Because I can walk and sit there and say, okay, this is the game where I am going to get my 5 kills. Before we get into the last 2 tips that I have for everybody, if you find yourself enjoying the video, if you find that these tips have made sense to you in any way, and you feel like you would like to implement them, then please consider hitting the subscribe button and turning the notification on so you can release a video whenever I upload. Now, to get into one of them, the second last tip is, and this is a big one for me because I'm constantly aware of it, hate it. I wish that I could ignore it, but I can't, and that is ignore your pain. It is the biggest problem that I have when I play any Call of Duty video game online. I am constantly life-to-death ratio. And I know I shouldn't, but I do. Whenever I first started playing Call of Duty Cold War, first couple of matches, my KD was at a 140, and I was like, oh, this is great. And then all of a sudden, it started to go down, and that is due to the skill-based matchmaking. You hop into a match, you get 20 kills, they're putting you in the top 2 players for the next 20 games. And then your KD comes down, and then you hop back in, and you get another 20
Gather
kills.
supplies. Arm yourself. Be prepared. Orders are incoming.
Bracket, so to speak, all this. do not pay attention to your KD. It's just a goddamn number that I wish they didn't put in the game. And that's another reason I don't like playing Warzone, is because even if it is in there, I can't find it anywhere, or maybe I just haven't looked. But I'm constantly looking at my KD after every 3 or 4 matches to see if it went up a percentage point or if it went down a percentage point. And I'm constantly looking at it, and as I'm playing a game and I'm getting the win up, and I'm getting more death than I am kill, I know that that number is coming down, and I hate it. And it just you
are a double agent. Operate in the shadows. Eliminate the enemy.
Please do not pay attention to that number. It is only a number. It doesn't mean anything. And I need to practice activated here. But please do not pay attention to that KD. For some players, it's not a big deal. They don't even pay attention to it. And to me, that's the people that have like a 3, a 2, a 3, a 4, or even a 5 KD. Those are people that really don't pay attention to it. The only way to get that KD better is to follow the first section. The first 4 tips that I've given you, and just slowly get better at the game. Alright, the last tip that I have for everybody today, and I'm going to include this one even though all of the other videos of tips and tricks
Almost there.
that are out
Keep
there,
your cool.
they include this one
Proceed
too.
on
I'm
mission.
going to include it, but not for the same reason that they do. And that is, set yourself up a custom game against bots. Now, they are underused.
All objectives met. Double agents return to handlers for debrief.
And all that bullshit. The problem with that is bots don't move like human players do. Bots, you set bots to target, and whenever you walk straight in front of them, they're not going to shoot you for the first 2 or 3 seconds. Human players aren't like that. Human players are going to shoot you before they can even
Get ready. Orders to follow.
Also, bots, they don't exploit game mechanics. They don't look for head glitches. They don't camp. So, to me, setting up a custom game playing against bots to warm up, or aim, or how to track enemies, not so much. I will tell you that the reason you want to play against bots is to find out the layout
Operative,
of the map.
protect your investigator while they
Call of
uncover
Duty
double
Black Ops
agents.
Cold War, there are more maps that I can't stand rather than ones that I'd much rather play on. Raid, I know it's a classic one, and I'll probably take a little bit of shit for this. I don't
A field might have
satellite,
been destroyed.
or whatever that's called, Miami.
They got our
There are a
investigator.
lot of
Keep
maps
your eyes
in
open and
multiplayer
watch
that I
your back.
cannot stand to
Hostile
play
counter
on.
spy plane
But
established
every
above.
time that I load up the game and before I head into an actual multiplayer lobby, I will go,
Sit
I
rep.
will set up bots,
Multiple
and I
enemy
will
counter
play
spy
those
planes in your
maps
AO.
to learn the routes, learn certain pieces of cover, finding out where those head glitches are that I've seen other players use to see if I can counter them in any way. And that is the reason that I play against bots. It's not to warm up my aim, it's not to...
Dirty bomb detonated. Near the contaminated area.
solely to learn the layouts of the map, to find different pieces of cover.
Squad down. Gather supplies. Arm yourself. Be prepared. Orders are incoming.
So, use bots to learn different routes within the map, learn the map layout, and that is the best thing that coming from playing against bots is simply just learning the map in different lanes, different places to counter gunfights.
Investigator, uncover all double agents.
So as I previously asked, if you did enjoy the video, please consider hitting the subscribe button and turning the bell notification on so that you are aware every single time I upload a video to enjoy Call of Duty
Check your targets. Friendly fire will not be tolerated.
And until the
Field
next
mic
one,
offline.
I'm done.
Get that fucking traitor out of my sight. Watch your back.
And that is massive. That is a 7-life deficit turned into a win. You got Envoy in the back juggling the hard point, or the control point, excuse me, in those back spawns. Just trying to get that information to the team. The timing doesn't even work out. And so once that player falls, someone's got to make the big. We go on the offense. Skull from up high, and that getting drop. We'll keep an eye with our game field feature player for a minute here to see if Scum can make some plays. All of his teammates drop. It's up to him to do it.